Hey guys, James Day here. I hope by the end of this speech you'll get to know a brief history of me, find out where I came from and what I'm all about. Starting off, I'd like to apologize. I just got my bottom left wisdom tooth pulled a couple days ago, so still a bit tender. Nonetheless, brief history of myself. I was born in Savannah, Georgia. That's where my father was stationed back in 1988. He's a retired Army Apache pilot. My two younger brothers and I, we've moved around quite frequently growing up, being military brats and all. We've lived in Kansas, Colorado, Texas, and Germany, as far as I can remember. I was young back then. And my younger brother was born in Germany, one of them was. And that's where I'm headed next in about 6 months after leaving Korea. But for the majority of that childhood, we lived in Manhattan, Kansas. And back in 1998, if you guys remember this, John Elway, back-to-back Super Bowls. I kind of tend to live in the past when it comes to that, just because there were better times back then. Brief history of my work. Before the Air Force, I did what every little kid does, I think. I had a paper route for about 5 years. I did odd jobs here and there. Cut grass, stuff like that. And after that was over, I worked at a nursing home for about 3 years. I cooked in the kitchen. It's probably the job that I enjoyed the most. Got to meet a lot of cool people, very wise people. And after that, I worked at a mailbox manufacturing company, and I also worked at a window / glass production plant until about February of 2008 when I joined the Air Force to the present. And that's about it for work history. I was stationed at Beale Air Force Base. That was my first base after tech school. I did lots of cool things in California. I got to go to Santa Cruz. We saw the Spin Doctors play. I'd never heard of them before, but it was actually pretty cool. We got to see the Redwoods, which are massive. We got to go to San Francisco, see the Golden Gate Bridge. Got to go mountain biking, swimming in the mountain rivers, swimming in the ocean. Also went skiing quite a bit at Squaw Valley. Lots of history there. And I also managed to break my first bone. I don't know what this is called, but thought I was going to go my whole life without breaking a bone, but that was not meant to be. Some of my passions: I enjoy golfing, fishing, hunting, camping, basically anything outdoors. I like to throw the ball around. I think being part of the intel career field, lots of times you get stereotyped. People think you play Magic and World of Warcraft. Lots of you 104s can probably relate. I prefer to be outside though. It's not to say I don't like playing video games every now and then, but Diablo 3 just came out, so I'm sure all these guys in the dorm right now are playing that. And the little social life that they did have, they are not going to have for probably a few months. Also, another passion is playing music. I play the guitar, and I've also played the violin since first grade. And actually, that's an interesting story. I remember 3 things from my first grade class. Number 1, I remember baking pumpkin seeds and eating them. Number 2, I remember, I think every elementary school at some point you have an incubator and you basically have little baby chicks and watch them hatch and then push them out the nest, let them fly away. And thirdly, I remember playing the violin with every other student in that class. And Mrs. Hill, our teacher, I think it was a project. Basically, she had every student pick up the violin and just play it to get our music time in, or whatever they called it back then. But a couple of us have stuck with it since first grade. In middle school, I was part of an orchestra called the Gold Orchestra. It was basically an after-school community orchestra. It consisted of about 40 members. In spring of 2001, before the towers fell, we got to go to Carnegie Hall in New York City and perform there. Had a total blast. Unfortunately, on the plane ride back to Kansas, I managed to delete all the pictures that we took. I thought that I was formatting the digital camera. Unbeknownst to me, formatting actually meant delete. So to this day, I owe my mom a trip back to the big city. And we'll see when that happens. Hopefully sooner than later. Some of my values: I value family. I think family is very important. Church as well. Church and faith, they provide the foundation, the way I try to live my life, and that is with no regrets. So I hope this speech provided some insight about me, and I look forward to watching everyone else's. Thanks for your time.